All right, let's call this meeting to order, April 26, 2022 at 6 p.m. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please take the roll.
Councilmember Blair,
Here.
Councilmember Richardson,
Present.
Councilmember Crossman,
Here.
Councilmember Smith. Here. Councilmember Hess.
Here.
Councilmember Roy. Here. Councilmember Kaminsky. Here. Mayor DePinto.
Here. All right, item number 2, agenda approval, and I would ask the council to entertain amending the council, or it's not amending the council, amending the agenda to include under special presentations, our employee of the quarter.
So moved.
Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, item number 3, under special presentations, we have our city employee of the quarter of the year, Erica Cecil. Erica, would you mind coming out here? There she is. So you just wouldn't mind standing at the podium. Erica Cecil is our employee of the quarter for the first quarter of 2022. And from day one, Erica stepped into a role and took off with a utility billing position with very little assistance. She's always willing to help others without being asked. Erica is very knowledgeable, doesn't hesitate to share her knowledge with others. She has stepped up above her duties and took on the recording and streaming of council meetings, including updating of the standard operating procedures with precise detail, and gave up playing on her soccer league on Tuesday evenings. So thank you. And then just also personally, Erica has been really great for the city here. She's, like I've said before, she picks up a lot of the slack around here. And you know, when we were down an employee or so, she's in those duties, and she's just been a rock star for us. So I'm very happy to award Erica with this award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. If you have any comments or.
No, I learned a lot. I appreciate it. I have enjoyed doing it. I'm really glad to hand it off to Desiree and go back to playing soccer. though. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Erica. All righty, moving on to item number 4, public comment. Is there any public comment today? Anyone online?
I'm not seeing any attendees.
All right, let's move on to the consent.
Yeah.
What? Nope. All right, moving on to item number 5, consent agenda. We have the April 12th meeting minutes and the proclamation for National Small Business Week. I will read the proclamation after it gets passed. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Councilmember Hess, is there a second?
Second.
I think Councilmember Kaminsky beat you to the punch. Just half a second. All right, it's motion second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Thank you. All righty. Now, City of Yelm proclamation, National Small Business Week, May 1st through 7th, 2022. Whereas the City of Yelm, Washington recognizes the value and, oh man, I messed it up already. Take 2. Whereas the City of Yelm, Washington recognizes and values the dedication and entrepreneurial spirit of small businesses that keep the City of Yelm, State of Washington, the American economy growing stronger. And whereas it is a collaborative mission of the city working in partnership with the Yelm Area Chamber of Commerce, City of Yelm, and other organizations to help our businesses grow, create new jobs within the greater Yelm area. And whereas the President of the United States has proclaimed National Small Business Week every year since 1963 to highlight the programs and services that are available to entrepreneurs through the U.S. Small Business Administration and other government agencies. And whereas Small Business Week has become an annual practice to encourage small business owners to learn from the success stories of the top performers who have achieved their success and emulate the same practices to ensure their own success. And whereas the City of Yelm supports and joins in this national effort to help small businesses do what they do best, create jobs, and ensure that our community remains as vibrant tomorrow as it is today. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and Yelm City Council hereby recognizes May 1st through 7th, 2022 as National Small Business Week in the City of Yelm. We urge all our citizens to join us in this observance as we celebrate the accomplishments of small business owners and their employees by making a purchase from small local business in our community or share a story about the great service you receive from a small local business. Signed, City of Yelm, Washington, this 26th day of April, 2022. Thank you, Council. And thank you, small businesses. Moving on, under new business, we have the Ask Me contract presentation. Todd, City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Good evening. We have the last contract in front of you tonight to be signed. We're very excited to be here. This is the AFSME contract. The AFSME covers our office, clerical, and general government departments that are non-exempt and not covered by the other two unions. I believe there's 15, 16 that are in the union, roughly.
About that, yeah.
I think in that ballpark. The previous agreement expired in December of 2021. The negotiation and outcome of the agreement presented was focused on providing a fair contract to our employees based on comparable cities and their respective employment agreements. It is the intention of the city to maintain or create a situation where we can retain and recruit the best talent available. With this contract, I believe we have done so. And as discussed previously, the contract was negotiated within the parameters that council set for us, the same as we have done for the Teamsters and the Fraternal Order of Police contracts that we asked you to approve earlier. So with that, I can answer any questions you may have. The motion is in there for you.
Your motion, Councilmember Smith.
A motion to authorize Mayor DePinto to sign the 2022 to 24 AFSCME contract as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Councilmember Crossman. This motion is second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes.
Thank you, council.
Thank you, Chief City Administrator.
Yes.
All righty, moving on to 6 item B, appointment to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. For this one, we are going to have Kathy, our city clerk, going through a little background regarding the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, just for council and for the public's awareness of what the LTAC committee does. And also it'll talk about the appointee here in a minute. And Shelley is right over there. Thank you for waving. And Kathy, take it away, please.
Jumped ahead a little fast here. So this, I'm just going to give you some general information on the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee, the committee appointment that we have on the agenda tonight, and then the next steps for the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. We should went to the podium. Okay, so just an update for the lodging tax, hotel motel tax also it's called, is a tax charged on lodging for hotel stays that are less than 30 days. It's collected as a tax when someone stays in the motel here in town at the time of the transaction. And then the revenue must be used for eligible tourism promotion activities or tourism related facilities. So the tourism promotion and tourism related facilities are defined by RCW. So we don't get to define those. The Lodging Tax Advisory Committee doesn't get to. They have to be for one of these items that are listed here. Whether it be marketing for tourism, marketing and operations of events that are designed to bring people from out of town, or capital expenditures for tourism related facilities that are owned or operated by the city. And these are, like I said, it's for to bring tourism to town. The money is not intended for community events. If it's just solely a community event, but if it's marketed or it's, something to bring people from outside of Yelm into Yelm. So we are required to have a Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Any city that collects the tax, if there's a population of more than 5,000 people, you have to have the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. So the memberships are spelled out by RCW also. It must include at least 2 representatives, or have at least 5 members. At least 2 of them must be representatives of a business that are required to collect the tax. So involved with the motel. At least 2 people who are involved in activities that are authorized to be funded by the lodging tax. And 1 elected official from the jurisdiction who serves as the chair. So the statute provides that a person who's eligible in the first category, so if they represent the lodging tax, the like, so the business that collects it, for the hotel, they can't be part of, they can't say then they would qualify for the, so if there were already 2 people from the hotel, a third person from the hotel couldn't say, well, I also volunteer on this, for this funding source and be on the third one. It needs to be separate people that aren't involved in that. So the duties of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee is they are to receive applications and then they make the recommending the list of candidates and funding levels to the legislative body for the final determination. And so the legislative body can only choose recipients from the list of candidates and the recommended amounts by the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. The application process and award process is everyone has to submit the application. The applications are available on the website. And the entities that can apply for the lodging tax are, convention and visitors bureaus, destination marketing organizations, nonprofit, including Main Street organizations, lodging associations, chambers of commerce, and the municipalities. The city of Yelm has to also fill out an application to spend lodging tax funds. Even though we collect it and hold it, we still have to fill out the application also. So the applications have to include information on estimates of funding, how the funding activity will result in increase to the number of people staying overnight, traveling 50 miles or more, or coming from another state or country. And obviously when a group's putting this together, their estimates, I mean, no one knows for sure, but you can estimate based on your marketing, based on your advertising, and that's how those numbers would come up. They would estimate based on those items. So once they've been awarded, council's approved the process of the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee has made the recommendation. Council's approved it. They've held their event. Within 30 days, the group has to submit their final report. And so that has to have attendance information, number of people who traveled greater than 50 miles, out-of-state attendance, total number of people who paid for overnight lodging. And also the receipts for the expenses that they're getting reimbursed. They have to spend the money up front. They can submit the receipts and then they can receive reimbursement for that. They also have to list on each of those items the methodology they use to determine attendance. So sometimes if you have an event over here in the park and you've got you don't have one gate for people coming in and out, there's no way you can count them. So there's different ways and different methodologies that are defined on the application that you can use to estimate the attendance. So the process, the applications to serve on the advisory boards and commission, this is for volunteers, can be filled out anytime. All of our advisory boards and commission, the application is the same for any of our boards and commissions, and you would check the box of which ones you would like to volunteer for. The application's on our website under the boards and commissions section, and people can submit those applications anytime. If they submit them, we hold the applications. We review them when there's an opening. If there's no applications on file, then we volunteer. Then we would advertise 4 volunteers for the positions, and then the mayor reviews the applications to make sure that they meet the requirements, and then he will make the appointment, and then it would come before the council, and council would confirm the appointments. So currently on the lodging tax, we have 3 members. We do have 2 current vacant positions. One was because of a resignation, and then the other one was someone who was on there that wasn't qualified. I did check with the attorney just for clarification, and we can hold a lodging tax advisory committee meeting with vacancies as long as we have a quorum. So if we have 3 people, 3 members, we can hold a meeting. We still have a quorum. We prefer to have 5 members, but we want to, obviously when there's a vacancy, especially in something like this, we want to try to get those filled as quick as we can. But business doesn't have to stop if there's a vacancy. We can still continue on.
Just to go off that real fast. Ideally, like you said, it would be all 5, and that's what I would like to have. But there is business that we need to take care of. And I feel comfortable moving forward with, well, hopefully after this confirmation for Shelley, if the council so chooses to, we'd have 4 members on that committee. We could start the process up again. And I will appoint as soon as I can another committee member. We acted pretty quickly. I thought on replacing this, getting one extra person on there. I think we can get another one fairly soon as well. But yeah, like Kathy said, we did check with our attorney and we are good with just 3 members to move forward. Ultimately, we don't want that, but we can. And, you know, as this fail safe, either way, the council gets to approve what comes out of this. So we're not gonna be able to do anything if council thinks that some shenanigans are going on or something's not right, or doesn't agree with what the lodging tax committee is doing. They're the fail safe. You guys are the fail safe. That's the checks and the balances. So you will be able to approve or deny what the lodging tax committee recommends and puts forth. So.
And we do have too, as our members that we do have on here, even though we don't have a large committee, we do have, you know, they've been involved in the lodging tax committee for quite some time. And they're very familiar with the requirements, you know, so when they're reviewing those applications, they know what they're looking for to make sure those members, you know, that the applications are qualified. So next step is the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee needs to meet. They will need to determine the guideline for the funding applications for 2022 grant awards. We know that, you know, the application is available on the website for the grant awards, but there hasn't been any advertisements to date. So when the committee meets, they will determine a date period and we'll advertise that date of when the application process is open, when it will close. And then they will schedule a date to review the applications after it closes. And then once that happens, and when they make their recommendations, then we'll bring it back to a following council meeting after that for council to, you know, review the applications and move forward on you know, the final approval process for any funding applications. So at this time, we do have one application that was submitted. Shelley Nicholson submitted an application to serve on the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. The mayor has reviewed the application, has determined that she does meet the requirements as directed by RCW. He has made the appointment to the lodging and is asking council tonight to confirm her appointment. We do have one more position open that we do have posted, and we're still, you know, accepting applications to, and hopefully we can receive the application and have someone else to be able to appoint our next meeting or this meeting real soon.
Questions? Alrighty, then just again, because this is my appointment, I would ask the council to approve this appointment. I believe Shelley, first of all, she does qualify for the committee, but I think she'd be a good voice on this committee. She's been a strong advocate for small businesses and events here in Yelm for years and years. Shelley, is there anything you'd like to say before we take this vote?
I filled out lodging tax form in Thurston County, Lacey, and Olympia for years. Because I ran Roxbury's and bands and the Lacey South Sound Barbecue Festival. What was the tour day, Lacey? There's lots of events.
I'm sorry, would you mind standing so the camera can get you? Sorry.
I don't want it to get I just have braces today, so I'm very awkward. But I think it's important that people understand like how to fill out the forms. So if there's somebody they have questions, I could be that person because I've filled it out so many times. And being able to reconcile the forms at the end is really important too, because you've got to make sure it's done right. And I just know Olympia is really, really hard to do. So after doing the hardest one, I think I would qualify. And I understand what Heads and Beds is. It needs to be an event that literally brings people to Yelm. It can't just be a picnic in the park. You know, it has to be something big and monumentous.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Councilmember Kaminsky.
I would be happy to motion Mayor Joe DePinto's appointment of Shelley Nicholson to the LTAC committee.
I think.
I think Councilmember Crossman beat you a little bit. Quick on the draw this time. It's been motion seconded. Is there any more discussion? Councilmember Hess.
My discussion is not necessarily, it pertains to this, but also pertains to advisory boards and commissions for the city of Yelm. going through the research and all, Mayor, you are correct. The procedures, you don't have to advertise. You can choose whomever you want, pick up, and yes, you're right, you bring the vote here. My only concern, and this is something after this discussion that hopefully we as a council can get together to actually codify it, because I did the research. The chief executive of the state of Washington, the governor, he advertises openings for his advisory boards and commissions. Within Thurston County, Lacey, Olympia, and Tumwater advertise openings for advisory boards and commissions, not just in Thurston County, but also throughout Washington. Many cities and municipalities advertise those doing that. So the procedure, you are correct, you have followed it according to Yelm's code. And I just want to bring that up, have it brought forward at this point, that hopefully we as a council can, if we want to, for the future of the city, have that openness for people and everything, and be able to get more diversity and inclusion within that, we need to, I believe, at some point codify if other council members in the future feel that this process should be changed a little bit.
Thank you.
It's my only discussion.
Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Hess. Councilmember Blair?
On that note, I just want to clarify, in the past, all openings that I'm seen were like advertised as far as the advisory boards and commissions. This one specifically, I'm getting the feeling that it was just kind of like, we don't want to make the decision with 3 people, so let's get someone on here quick. And as for the diversity of the committees, this committee specifically is not a diverse one. It is narrowed down to who can be on it.
All right. Thank you for your comments, Councilmember Blair. Any other comments? All right, we have a motion, a second. We'll do a roll call vote on this one just in case. We'll start with Councilmember Blair.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Crossman,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Hess,
No.
Councilmember Roy,
Yes.
Councilmember Kaminsky.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-1. Thank you. Thank you for your service to the city and your willingness to volunteer.
Thank you.
All righty, moving on to item number 7, old business. There is none scheduled. Moving on to number 8, updates. Go ahead.
Old business, we actually do have an old business that should be on the schedule. If I remember correct, the last council meeting, we did not make a decision on the grant that was proposed. So that does fall under old business according to the city code, that it fall, because no action was taken then, it actually falls as old business now.
All right, the correct portion of this agenda, or if you would have liked to have changed it or would have sought to change the agenda, would have been under item number 2, agenda approval. So as it states, it is as it is. Item number 8, updates, department heads. Chief City Administrator Stansel, would you please give the update?
Yeah, council. Couple updates. I know we did a bunch of updates here just a couple days ago. I'll give you a few more. Things happen fast around here, so I'm gonna try to keep you up to date on everything. From our finance department, we have our new part-time accounts payable employee, Sarah Kidd, will start next Monday, I believe, May 2nd, right, Kathy? Yes, Kathy agreed with me. In the police world, we're in the FTO process of our new officer, Sammy Garcia. That's going well. The academy date set for a new entry-level officer, tentative start date in the academy of June 1st. We are doing entry-level interviews all day tomorrow. We have 7 applicants that we will be interviewing tomorrow over at the Public Safety Building. The replacement vehicles from our pursuit collisions that occurred last month are currently here and being outfitted. So that's very good news. We're also looking at a new public disclosure software that can make life much easier, especially with the new camera systems that will go online more likely in the middle of May time. So that's from the police world. From the Public Services Department, all projects are on schedule, some slightly ahead, but we don't want to get too excited. We're just going to say they're on schedule. Paving of the patching over water lines will take place next week. So no more road roads. So, weather dependent, of course. Since we have very cooperative weather, I'm sure it'll happen next week. Installation of equipment at the fitness pad will begin the week of May 9th. The ribbon cutting is scheduled for Memorial Day weekend in conjunction with the water park activation. So that's good there. And from the executive department, we have our new communications and recreation coordinator, Desiree Atkins. She started with the city last week. She's hitting the ground running and getting up to speed. Matter of fact, she's back there learning how to do this meeting and streaming it live and everything as we speak. So if everybody just wants to wave to Desiree, she will see you. And then I just want to remind council, next Wednesday, we have an employee appreciation lunch, the first one of the year. Please attend if you can. It will be a great opportunity for you to meet all of our employees, not just the new ones, but even the old timers who have been here for a while. And so we will do that from 11:30 to 1 at the community center next Wednesday. Come and get some great food, visit with the staff. They would greatly appreciate that. So that's about all I got. If somebody has any questions for me.
Are you appreciating us too, or are we just going to appreciate them?
We appreciate you every day. So yes, we will appreciate you as well.
We appreciate it.
Anyone who does anything for the city, we want to appreciate. Yes, Terry.
I wanted to thank you for your fine gourmet cooking. Yes.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad nobody got sick from it. Everything was cooked to temperature.
It was very good. It was very good.
I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. And it was good for the staff when we had our first staff meeting since that with this morning. A lot of discussion about the retreat, and there was a lot of positive comments thrown around about what we were able to discuss, what we're able to get done, and kind of the path forward on multiple big rocks that we have going on for the city. So it's definitely beneficial for us. So thank you.
All right, moving on to council reports. Councilmember Blair. Councilmember Richardson.
Oh, so much to say. First off, the retreat that we attended this weekend was phenomenal. I really do appreciate that, Mayor, your leadership as far as empowering the council in a way to have an opinion, nonetheless discuss and hash things out. Appreciate that. And also attended Young Life Club last night. I've been sitting in on some art commission meetings, and really I think our end goal with Art Commission is really trying to become, we want to become a certified creative arts district here in Yelm. I think that'd be a fantastic thing to have that stamp of approval. Also this week, don't forget 507, right? Drive 507 over here at PTL Hardwood Floors. Everybody's invited. I'm inviting you to come and be at Josh's business and have some food. Yeah, jerk.
Yeah.
Increase the order. I think everything.
Sounds good, yeah.
We have about 10,000 people watching right now.
Everybody.
There's a lot now.
But that's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Richardson. Councilmember Crossman.
Public Services Committee today, have Planning Commission the other day, and just wants to remind everybody, Pretty City Day, May 21st. Get out, clean up Yelm. That's all I got.
And Councilmember Crossman. Councilmember Smith.
I attended my first planning commission meeting. That was interesting. And then I also attended my first law and justice meeting. They have those quarterly, and it was really good. They talked a lot about all the new bills regarding like firearms and police laws. Anyway, it was very good.
Councilmember Hess.
Reference to public service meeting. As the city administrator put it, all projects are on time or possibly even ahead of schedule, which was good to hear. It was a very good brief about all the capital projects that are being done. Full list of them. And as they get completed, it will be great for the city itself and that what the services will be providing. From the plans portion, they have some code change recommendations that we support and will be coming to the council during the study session next month. And we also asked, as was brought up during the study session, we asked for them to start getting estimates of costs to have an outside agency take a look at our codes and get them all up to
Code.
not up to code, it's up to the present. In other words, we don't have things from the 1700s, the 1800s that people could use to get away with something that we may not want. And we also need to bring in for, as was pointed out, automated cars in the future, a variety of other things that are going on. So we'll make our city, if the process is as effective as being advertised, it will make our city a great place for people to come because they will actually understand that here's the codes and they'll be able to develop accordingly and not have to worry about trying to find everything that might be hidden. And I just have a Regional Housing Commission meeting tomorrow, which I'll report on next time. And that's all I have to report.
Councilmember Hess, Councilmember Roy.
I did attend our SETI meeting. It again was a great meeting. The municipalities in South Thurston County are very involved in their communities and are doing really great things. There are Thurston Strong grants available for small businesses currently. So if there are any small businesses out there who are looking for some assistance, they are still available. I still have not met with Thurston Thrives. But I am getting information from them, so that's good. I count that as a win. They are hiring a new executive director, so if there's anyone listening who is qualified for that, please visit with them. And then I do have a request, if I may. Thanks. In the last couple of months, there have been four businesses that have grown or opened here in our city. And I have gotten complaints from each of them about the codes and the steps that need to be taken. We all know that proper steps have to be taken for businesses to open, to grow. You know, the rules are there. They do need to be followed. But I would like to advocate here for grace for these businesses and others that come into town, so that we can, continue our quest to be a very business-friendly community. And I'd like to advocate for open and honest communication between the city and those businesses as they come in.
Thank you. And if you do have specific businesses that do want to chat about our processes and our requirements and rules and all that, please feel free to reach out to me or any of the city administrators, any of the department heads regarding that, especially
Congratulations.
Cecil or Cody. But yeah, I get that, and it's tough because sometimes the business thinks that they're getting picked on or singled out personally, but code enforcement is very difficult, and we have a really good code enforcement team here in Yelm, and led by Chris Vaccaro, and I think he does a great job. One thing, it's not a popular job when you're telling people they have to stay up to code and they have to do certain things to meet what our codes here are in Yelm. And if we want to review those codes, and I know one big issue right now, and I'm not going to single anyone out, but there are some businesses that are having issues with requirements of having a paved lot rather than a gravel lot. And hold on just one second. And so that's been a big issue with a lot of folks, that there's some that have been grandfathered in before this requirement for council. This is many councils prior, before councils approved that code, to have blacktop or concrete in. Those people did have gravel and they were grandfathered, so they were allowed to have those. If that business changes hands for a new owner or a new usage, that's when they have to improve that place of business. And it's usually, these are commercial C1s are usually what these folks are having the most complaints on. And so it's, we want a pretty city and all that, and we want people to update our codes. We want to enforce our codes. It's hard, and we try to be as lenient as we can on and work with them. The biggest thing for businesses is just to see what does it take to open up a business. Our pre-submissions are huge for the city, for businesses and the city. It gives everyone on the same page. It allows the city to help them. if they need assistance on time, we're more than willing to work with those businesses. But they gotta do the pre-submission. They gotta make sure that we're all on the same page. They can't start work and then say, hey, work with us now, after they've already, established certain, put in gravel or whatever. So we will work with them. If you do know of any of those businesses specifically and they want to chat with us, let's have those meetings up and move forward with that. But your
Thank you.
request is well received. We'll
Thank you.
do the rest. Yep, thank you. Is that your report?
Yes.
Thank you, Councilmember Roy, Councilmember Kaminsky.
Well, maybe the update of codes that we were talking about at Public Works will make some of those more up to date. I don't know.
Someone should, yeah.
Well, my day started at 9 a.m. right here at this table with Joe. We were at the Arts Commission and we are currently forming or getting ready to create a protocol, creating a task force, which will start the process, the 6-month or 9-month process of getting us certified to be an arts district. So it was a very good conversation. 3 o'clock, I had public services, but Brian did a great job talking about all of that. And there's really cool things coming up in the city that are really going to make a big difference, big visual difference too. And then I had my Nisqually River Council meeting, which I always feel like it's my National Geographic moment, all the natural world things that I get to report on. So the first thing we talked about was when Governor Inslee and I think Maria Cantwell came to the river. Did everybody see that on the news where they took the tribe, took them out in the boats to show them the river down, I think by the reservation there. The I-5 is really impeding on the resiliency of the river, and the river is also eroding the banks of the bridge, which is not very safe. So they're talking about a $5 billion project to fix that bridge. So that was how we started the meeting. The Stream Stewards Program, they had 85 volunteers pick up a whopping 1.9 tons of garbage over 17 miles of the Nisqually River. I found that to just be extraordinary. And they also planted 12,000 trees. Then we had a presentation on the state of the Salish Sea, which I wasn't quite sure what that was, but now I know. It is comprised of the Strait of Georgia, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and Puget Sound. That whole body of water is the Salish Sea. And I didn't realize it's an estuary. Would be a quiz in this report, but I won't ask you. An estuary is where fresh water and salt water meet. And the big discussion was about the shared marine waters that we have with beautiful British Columbia in Canada. The Fraser River supplies more than 50% of the fresh water that comes into the sound. So I thought that was fascinating. So it was all about this partnership, the boats, the marine, the orcas, and of course the presentation lady, she literally said, the orcas just swim freely up the coast. And I had to be really bad and say, you mean they don't need a vaccine passport to go across the border? Yeah, I had to. Anyway, they really don't like me over there either. So, but anyway, this estuary water combination is just filled with life and all sorts of freshwater life that needs protection. And the dangers to the waters are, of course, the warmings of the water, the acidification of the water, and the armoring. And that armoring is where they solidify the shore with sea walls or rock or whatever it is that changes that flexibility of the shore to the land. Then after that, we had a very spirited presentation by a gentleman named Tom Seawood, and he was a Marine Mammal Protection Act person. And he was an indigenous gentleman, really passionate, very, very interesting and well-spoken. But he was mainly talking about the overpopulation of the seals and the sea lions and how, they're really like a pest all along our coast coming up from California, all the way into British Columbia. And the statistics he had on how much salmon those guys eat was amazing. I mean, just incredible amount of salmon. So he says that these seals are actually eating the salmon into extinction, literally. And his solution, of course, is to use the tribes because they are a loophole and basically eradicating every single one of them. That was the solution.
Oh.
So we'll just see if we can strike something more balanced than that. And then the other cool thing, have you guys ever heard of Survive the Sound?
I haven't heard of this.
Long
Please.
Live the Kings. I guess it's about the king salmons, but it's very, very cool, long process. But what they do is while they're studying the salmon, they take a portion of them and put these auditory acoustic trackers in them. And then while they're studying the sound, they put in the sensors in the water. So every year they have this competition where you can like sponsor a fish and you get a group of people to sponsor a fish, which it sounds like it's tracked in real time. And its journey from here all the way to where they spawn, and how few of them actually make it, like just only a couple make it. It's really sad. So it sounds like a really interesting program. If anybody's
You get like a prize if your fish makes it all the way.
Yes, you do. They finally have prizes. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like
You get to keep the fish.
they know right where it is.
The fish.
A little castle.
It must be really cool. We should make
It'd
it.
be also sponsor a fish.
We should make it team.
Go out there and make sure the fish survives.
So that was that. And then the annual conservation dinner and auction, June 19th, for the Nisqually River Council is at our very own Shorno Wellspring, Nisqually Springs Farm, June 19th, if anybody wants to go. And what else was there? There was one other thing. I guess not. Thank you for the retreat.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Council Member Kaminsky. Thank you first of all, to all the attendees today. This is one of our busier meetings for attendees, so thank you all for being here, business owners and members of the Chamber of Commerce. Thank you. And yeah, so first of all, with the council retreat, I was really proud of everyone who attended. I thought we accomplished a lot from staff. I mean, while it was a council retreat, it was also a staff retreat as well. We got a lot of big, like as the chief said, some of our big rocks out of the way. We discussed some issues that we had, some more challenges, some good things, and just talked about what we're doing here in the next few months and then next year's moving on. So good stuff on the staff side, good stuff on the council side. I appreciate the team building, the getting to know each other a little bit, and also some of the bigger items that we discussed that you want to move forward with, one of which was the study sessions, moving those over to the public safety building, and we will be accommodating that, directed staff to go ahead and look into that and actually get that done. So we're waiting, we're going to be listening to IT, see what their thoughts are on logistics of it, so it likely will be recorded. Study sessions will be still recorded, video and audio, likely to have that up either hours after the next day or so, but they will be recorded and be able to be viewed by the public. We will have it in a more or less formal setting. We will also have Councilmember Smith in her role as Mayor Pro Tem lead those discussions. I'll be in attendance as well and give my opinion on different things as well, but this will be more of a council driven meeting. So Councilmember Smith can go ahead and run those meetings. And so we're aiming though for June as our first one, but again, this is going to be dependent on what the logistics are to set that up, the cameras and all that stuff, make sure that we're good to go. But yeah, so probably June, July, probably the latest, but we are moving forward with that as council requested. The other item on that is the beautification grant, as we discussed at that at the council retreat. We will be moving forward with a policy that we can give, we'll first do it in a study session, was that correct? And then at the, so we'll bring it to a study session here. Is it our next one? Yeah. Our next study session. So moving pretty quick on your requests on what council wants. And we'll have that presented. We'll have it up for an action item in the following city council meeting. So move forward, good things with that. The only other thing, I had a meeting with the other mayors of South County, as well as the county administrator, determining CDBG, Community Development Block Grant. And it's kind of cool. I mean, the responsibility is huge. We're determining like a little over $1 million of funding that is from the feds meant for community development. Would have thunk it. And so anyway, this is South County's turn to get the revenue this year, and lots of good programs. Unfortunately, we had about 1.4 million, almost 1.5 million in total funds requested. We gave out just a little under 1.1 million. So, you know, it's tough decisions we have to get cut. But fortunate for Yelm, we were able to secure funding of $525,000 for our off-leash dog park. What that means is we're not gonna have to spend city dollars on that, which we have budgeted, correct? Most of that, but we will have, you know, bathrooms in there. We'll be able to afford bathrooms on it. We'll be able to do our pipes for the water and all that, and really provide a solid dog park for the citizens of Yelm at a very minimal cost for the citizens. And so we should be able to complete that this year. This was a linchpin that of getting, if we didn't get this funding, it probably wouldn't have happened this year. So I'm very happy that we were able to get that. And the other mayors thought it was a valuable enough project where we could move forward with it. So happy for that. There's some other good programs as well on there, and it's gonna be official. This is just preliminary, but it'll be official. I just want to let you all know, and folks watching here and Yelm, that we are getting other funded. That also allows us to free up money that was budgeted towards that to other cool projects the city needs. And one of which is the stage. We're gonna be redoing the stage over here, reworking that, by tearing down one of the pavilions. Make this a beautiful area where people can have concerts and musical concerts. And that's gonna be designed by students at St. Martin's. They're part of architecture. Is that engineering department. So really excited for that, to work with that, collaborate and work with that university. That's awesome. It'll be a cool little concert space, venue space. And it's gonna provide that parks. I mean, that park's really, I was gonna say some slang. The park's really doing well though, you know. The park's doing good, and really excited for how it's improved. You know, even from when I came on council, even for a few years prior to that, the vision that the previous councils and mayors had for this park, and we're just expanding on it. It's pretty cool. So I'm excited to see how awesome this park can get. The fitness pad's gonna be cool. We're doing a lot of good things. We're doing a lot of with grant money too. So it's not necessarily the citizens of Yelm paying for it. So thank you. Great updates. Good meeting tonight. Is there anything else good for the order?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Motion second, all approved, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?